So we know that computing has excellent job opportunities, but it's also the case that very few girls are studying computing. There are all these occupations that are going to have such an influence in our economy, and girls are not preparing for those occupations. There are other groups, underrepresented minorities, handicapped students, who are also underrepresented in this field and not preparing to go into these jobs, these very good jobs that will be available. And as a matter of fact, you can see this in the next slide. This slide talks about the 10 most popular academic majors in college. And it shows the difference between the majors that are popular for young women and the majors that are popular for young men. You can see that women tend to major in disciplines like business. Same thing for men. Most of them are studying business. That's what they're getting their bachelor's degrees in. But number two for women is health professions, whereas for men it's the social sciences, followed by engineering. And if you go down the list for men, number six is computing. But for women, computing and information sciences isn't on the list until 23rd. In fact, less than 1% of college-age women are studying computing, compared with more than 4% of young men. So this is a problem. They're not getting ready for these great occupations. So what is it that we're supposed to do then? Is it possible to get young women, to get underrepresented groups into computing? Yes, we know that it is. Research tells us that it is. But we can't just think, oh, it would be nice for this to happen if the girls, if the minority students want to study computing, they will, because it doesn't work that way. What happens is that in our society and our culture, the prevailing message is that you don't belong, young woman, in computing. You don't belong here. It's not what you're good at. It's not what you like. That's sort of the underlying the hum in the background of our culture. And if we want to change things, we have to do something active. We have to, in fact, actively recruit these underrepresented minorities. And you do that by crafting messages that appeal to things that these populations care about, by actively reaching out, conveying your message in a way that they can hear it, to raise the visibility of computing and computing occupations, and to personally persuade members of underrepresented groups that to give computing a try. So I know that this approach works because we've been doing these workshops for several years now, and I have data from evaluation that shows that teachers who have actively used the kinds of practices that we recommend have increased the numbers of girls in their high school AP computer science classes, that not just the numbers, but the percent of girls has gone up in AP computer science. The number and percent of students has gone up from an addition of 401 students among the teachers who participated in the Tapestry workshop and reported back to us what the results of their actions were. Let's see. Actually, underrepresented minorities also increased in numbers and in percentage. And even in the non-AP classes, well, we had much higher increases in terms of numbers of students and numbers of girls and numbers of underrepresented minorities. So This is a good use of your time. This is something that you can do, and that if you follow the recommendations, you are likely to have positive results. You will get more students and you will get more diverse students into your computing classes.
Hi, my name is Buffy Holly. I teach at Albemarle High School in Albemarle County. I've been teaching computer science for about 5 years, and I came to Tapestry for the first time in summer of 2012. And it was the most interesting and informative activity that I had ever been to. I came back to my school the next school year with a ton of ideas and things, and I've implemented more and more of them as the years have progressed since then. So I guess it's been 3 years since I've been to since the first time I was at Tapestry, and I've had some really great ideas that I've gotten from there that I've used, and I've made a lot of great connections with other teachers of CS and gotten ideas and things.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much,
Yes,
Buffy,
thank you.
for agreeing to do this. What we're going to do is, now that you've seen the video, we're going to um, intersperse questions that you had throughout the different sections of the video, just to be able to give a perspective of someone who's actually implementing this advice.
Okay.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and start?
So, is there a place where I can find women who currently have careers in computers that would be willing to talk to my female students about their careers and their experiences?
There are quite a few different places where you could go to get in contact with people like that. One thing that I'd recommend is a local college and their their student organizations for women in computer science majors. And those students are usually very excited to go speak to high school students, particularly if they went to that high school. But there are other sources, like associated with almost any computing professional organization, like the ACMW, or there's also the Computing Research Association Committee on the Status of Women, CRAW. They have speaker bureaus. So those would be other good contact places, and we'll give the links to those on the webpage here.
Okay. And then what are some I've only been teaching CS for about 5 years, so I don't know all the women in history, but what are some good women in computers, current or past, that would be great examples to give to my female students?
Okay, well, you know the obvious ones like Grace Hopper and like Ada Lovelace. Um, any woman who's won the Turing Award is also an obvious example. And then let's see, any of the professional organizations, the ones like ACMW or CRAW, can provide information on women in the history of computing, and often their members are current leading women in computing.